Sumo Barbell Deadlift is a great strength move for our posterior chain. So working on hamstrings, glutes, low back, mid and upper back, as well as our traps. It is another good total body movement that's great for increasing overall strength in the body. We're demonstrating today on a barbell, but you can do this exercise with dumbbells as well. If you do not have a barbell, if you want to look up our dumbbell sumo deadlift video, you can watch our tutorial that's a little more specific for those dumbbells. There's a lot of carryover, but there's also a few extra things that specifically will apply to whether you're using a barbell or a dumbbell. So today, we're going over using this with a barbell. For this barbell sumo deadlift, remember, sumo means nice and wide, so we're going to want our feet outside of shoulder width, toes slightly pointed out, and just like a normal barbell deadlift, we want to stand in nice and close to the bar, to where that bar is only maybe an inch or two away from our shins. So I'm going to get nice and wide, outside of shoulder width here, my toes are slightly pointed out. I'm going to scoot all the way up to where that bar is nice and close to my shins. That means I'm going to keep the bar in close to me. Remember, just like if you watch that normal barbell deadlift video, the further out that bar is, the more it's going to put strain on the low back. So we want to keep it in, almost in contact with the body throughout this entire movement. I'm then going to bend the legs down and I'm going to grab the bar on the inside of those legs, whereas on a normal deadlift, my feet would be in closer and I'm grabbing on the outside. For this one, my legs are wide, I'm grabbing on the inside of my legs here. So I'm going to come down, grab that bar, and then I'm going to push those hips up, keeping that back nice and straight. Remember, we're focusing on the back of the legs, so we're not bending all the way down like a squat here. I'm going to get the bar, but then I'm going to push my hips up while keeping that back nice and straight. From here, I'm going to drag the bar right up my shins, right up those thighs as I push my hips forward, stand nice and tall at the top, squeezing the butt, and then I'm beginning that downward movement. Instead of by bending the legs, I'm beginning it by pushing my hips back. See how that bar is staying in nice and close, dragging my thighs, now dragging those shins as I keep my hips up and come on down. My main focus is keeping that back straight throughout that entire movement. Biggest mistakes I see made on this exercise, number one, I often see people not getting their setup correctly. So maybe they'll get a semi-wide stance with the legs, and then they'll grab the bar out fairly wide too. So you can see how my arms are hitting my knees here. And that's going to be causing the bar to push out from my body and pull me over. We want full range of motion on this without any impediments. So we want to make sure that those feet are wide and those arms are on the inside here, so I'm not going to be running into my knees at all on that lift. So that's the first mistake I see made. Number two, a lot of times I'll see people not start close to the bar and not keep the bar in close to the body. So instead, maybe they'll be out here and they'll try their lift from out here, or while lifting, I'll see that big gap in between the bar and my body, and then they'll bring it in close at the top, but then they'll let it come drifting out away from them as they lower down. That's going to put unnecessary strain on the low back. We want to keep that bar in nice and close, dragging the shins, dragging the quads as you come up. Same thing as you go down. Push those hips back, let the bar drag down those thighs, and then drag it down those shins. That will create the least amount of unnecessary strain on our low back. Last mistake I see made on this exercise a lot is turning this into more of a sumo squat instead of a deadlift. And what that looks like is coming down low with the butt and keeping that chest up. And we're going to focus on the quads more throughout this one. We want to avoid this. So when you get down and set up, instead of being like this, push those hips up, get that upper body more parallel to the floor. You still want that back straight, you want those shoulders back, but we want hinged on over, so we're using our posterior chain more than putting that focus on the quads. So get in position, push those hips up, keep that back nice and straight, shoulders back, bar in nice and close, stand nice and tall, push those hips back. Again, legs are bending just a little bit in order to keep that back straight as I come down, but we're not bending them all the way down low, getting that butt low like we would for a squat. So start off light, get those fundamentals down on this exercise, and then you can start bumping up the weight and challenging yourself for this big compound move.